Hello YouTubers, my name is Attila Mate from Blue Sky Photography, and today I would like to talk to you about a topic which I don't really see on YouTube, and I have to tell you that I got difficulty when I when I wanted to do it first time, and I was reading everywhere how to update your firmware on your Fuji cameras. Now, if you are a regular Fuji user, probably you know this already, so that's not an issue, then this video is completely useless for you. But if you are a new Fuji user, you might end up that, oh, I would like to do the firmware update, but how do I do? Now, this camera I have in my hand is the FujiFilm X-T2, but I have my X-T2 which is filming at the moment, and I have to tell you that both cameras is the same situation. So when you want to upgrade your firmware, it will be actually the same. You have to push the same buttons and the same scenario. So Fujifilm is really good in firmware updates. I have to tell you, that's why I love Fujifilm. I mean, I never saw a company which actually releases a firmware update where one camera is not shooting in 4K, only 1080p, and suddenly with the firmware update they give you 4K video recording. I mean, that's mind-blowing. That's the truth. I mean, who did that before? Nobody, only Fujifilm. Anyway, they give always, for all their cameras, they will give always good firmware updates, like better autofocus, they tweak the algorithm in the autofocus, and they will push a little bit further. They are not afraid that you will not buy the newer cameras. No, and that's very interesting strategy. But I tell you something, I really like that, and many people like that. That's why many people buy Fujifilm, including myself. Now, I am a multi-camera user. I don't buy only one brand, and I'm not only a Fujifilm user. I use Fujifilm, I use Nikon, I use Panasonic for my video work. I use many kind of cameras, and I think that if you are more into video, honestly, now if you have a lot of money, you can buy Fujifilm cameras as well, because the X-T2 and the X-H1, they make pretty good video. But in my opinion, and after my experience having the Fujifilm and Panasonic, I like much better. I prefer Panasonic for video work. Now, that's only my opinion. But anyway, that's a different story. So let's get back to the firmware update. Every 2-3 months, it's worth to check the website of the Fuji website, because you will see new firmware updates, And just recently, they released another firmware update for the X-T20. And that firmware update again was tweaking the autofocus, and not only the autofocus, there were some other with the screen, with the touch screen, but you can see that on the Fujifilm website you have to go Fujifilm firmware support, and then you have to select your camera and your camera model. You have to download that file. When you download that file, you have to take your SD card from the camera, put it in the computer, but make sure you don't have anything on the card. The card has to be completely empty, and then you put it in the computer, and then you copy that file which you downloaded from the Fuji website, the firmware update file, you will copy on the card, and then you will go back, stick it back in your camera, make sure your battery is fully charged, because this will, well, in some cases it takes only 1 minute, in some cases it will take 2, 3, 4 minutes, it depends. But just in case, make sure your battery is fully charged, because if it stops the camera, if the camera will be out of power, and it stops between the upgrade, in the middle of the upgrade, the firmware upgrade, I tell you that can damage your software. So maybe the camera will not work anymore. You have to bring it back and just rechange the software and blah, blah, blah. So it will create hassle. It's better if you just check your battery and it's fully charged, or at least close to full. Now, when you stick your card in the camera, you have to turn on the camera and start the firmware update. But here it comes the tricky part, and I will explain to you by putting this camera in the front of you, and I will explain to you how to do it, And like I said, if I do on this one, on the X-A3, or if I do with the Fujifilm, X-T20 or the Fujifilm X-T2, or these cameras, they are all the same. You have to do the same in every Fuji camera. So let's get into let's see the camera's menu, and let's see how you do it. Let's see that. So we can see now the Fujifilm X-A3, and let's see how you do the firmware update. So like I told you, you have to stick the card in the camera and make sure that your battery is fully charged, or at least it is close to full. Now when you do that, after that you have to press this back display button, display back button, this one, and while you keeping that, holding that, you turn the camera on. Now if you turn the camera on, this screen will come up and you can see over here it says firmware upgrade, ensure battery is fully charged, and it says the body version and the lens version. Now if you want to upgrade the lenses firmware, you have to do the same scenario like over here. You have to do exactly the same. Like I said, you have to go on Fujifilm website, download the firmware file, put it on the card and stick it in, only if you want to upgrade the lenses firmware, or even then. So but even if you want to just to check, you know, the version, you can see over here the body version is 2.20, lens version 1.20. Now if you want to go to the firmware, you go over here and you say this, you hit OK, and then you have to select body or lens. You can see over here body or lens. Now when you select body or lens, then you just hit OK, and then the firmware upgrade will start. Now obviously I will not do that now, because now I cancelled it. It says firmware upgrade has been cancelled. Turn off the camera, because I don't want to do firmware upgrade now, because I have already done it, so I don't need to do that. But you have to watch it, because if you don't do it properly, it can damage your software. So that's why I say you have to be very careful. Your battery should be fully charged, and you have to be careful to keep these steps. So let's just do it again, just to make sure. You know, you hit this back display back button, and while keeping it holding, you turn the camera on, and then when the screen will come in, then you will follow those instructions. Now like I said, if I want to do on the Fuji X-T20 or the Fuji X-T2, it will be the same scenario. You will hit this display back, turn the camera on, and it will be the same story. Also with my Fuji X-T20, I did a few days ago, and it was the same situation. No difference at all. Now I hope that this video was helpful to you guys. I hope that you liked it. If you liked it, please like and subscribe and share my videos. And if you want to add something to this video, if you think that I forgot something very important, feel free and leave a comment down below. And I will appreciate it, because I also can make mistakes. I'm only a human being, so that means I don't know everything perfectly. So if you want to add something, feel free and leave a comment down below. And other than that, I wish you a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.